I believe we are live. Hello, this is the sultry tones of Mark Wildman coming to you from quarantine in Los Angeles. I feel like we're just going to make this a radio show, like the old Frasier TV show. Hello, this is Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica, and I believe we are now live. We are going to take questions today, Q&A. I believe that there is a number you can text into, and it should be up. We are attempting this last time. We didn't actually get any of the phone calls in. We are going to work to see if we can get the phone calls in now. The phone number is 518-400-5866. It only works when we're actually live, so don't call in like 2 days. I don't think it works then. We'll find out, but I'm nearly positive it doesn't. So we're going to try and take phone calls in the latter half of the hour. For the first, we're just going to read questions and answer them. Let's see what we got here. Hugh McLeod. I love that name. Middle-aged man, 54, feels quite happy sticking with 16K for everything, even if folks tell me I should aim for 24K. But 16 times 300 swings a day is plenty for most people. Yeah, it is. Yeah, 1,600 times 100, or 16 times 100 is 100. So that's, what's that? 32 plus 16, 4,800 kilograms moved per day. Yeah, that seems fine. You could go a little bit heavier. So the point of going heavier with a 20 or a 24K kettlebell would be to vary the amount of load you have every day. So when you think about load, your body will normalize any load that's exactly the same all the time. The point of having 2 or 3 kettlebells is that if you were to use a 16K one day, a 20K the next day, and a 24K the third day, and then start the cycle over for 6 days a week, what you would end up with is a work graph. If you want to think about this visually, instead of 4,800K per day, that number would jump up and down. The next day it might be 5,200, it might be 2,400. The goal is to vary your work capacity very slightly every day, and the cheapest, dumbest, easiest possible way to do that is to just use a different weight on each day. It could be a 14K one day, a 16K, and then an 18K. This is an old idea in kettlebell training where people used to train with the 3 weights. Day 1 would be 16K day, day 2 would be 24, and day 3 would be 32K. And if you just set a timer and did stuff for, say, 30 minutes to 1 hour a day with that weight, you would accidentally create a very good program. The way that I like to recommend people do it is with a 16, a 20, and a 24, because that tends to be more in the range of what most people are going to be able to operate more complex movements with. Most people are not going to be able to do complex movements with the 32K. So I always feel like the old version, 16, 24, 32, that's essentially a light day, a medium day, and a heavy day, was really good idea if you also did some other activity. If you were, say, a runner or a martial artist, you would accidentally end up hitting all the other planes of motion, but you would get a varying of your work capacity and your output. But I like the 16, 20, 24 because then you get more complexity if you don't have a complex movement sport that you're doing in those off days. Man, that's a long answer. That was like a 4-minute answer. Jesus. All right. Ishaq Ibrahim. Ooh, great name. I love it, that Ibrahim word spelling. Abraham, but in like the way it was originally said. Super cool. Hello, Mark. Which kettlebell trainer certification would you recommend and that one should get? What is your opinion of the IKFF-CKT1 certification? And how can one program to get to that level of fitness? Good question. There are a lot of kettlebell certifications on the market, and they all kind of focus on something different. The original one was the RKC, the Russian Kettlebell Challenge, and it focused on the 6 basic movements of kettlebelling. There are a lot of new ones now, and there used to be what's called an HKC. I don't even know if it's out there anymore. And it was a 1-day focus on kettlebells for trainers with other types of training certifications, instead of the big ass 3-day RKC training certification. I haven't been to a strong first training certification, which is Pavel's new training certification. I imagine that it is focused on pure strength and pure hard style. And the game has just gone up. It used to be okay in RKC to be able to function really well with a 32K. But I think now in the strong first, you see these guys are just cranking away at 48K all the time. I think that they've upped their game really high, but I think it's probably really focused still on those fundamental 6. So strong first would be a very good one to focus on. And you would need to focus on your 6 basics, as far as I know. The IKFF, if I remember correctly, is Cotter's certification. And that one started back in, maybe 2009, 2010. But Cotter is a beast. And if you took his certification, I think that would work out really well for you. I'm not going to lie, I don't know what it focuses on. But Cotter moved from focusing on specifically hard style techniques back when I trained with him way back in 06, 07. And he moved into the Valerie Fedorenko camp of training. Instead of doing just hard style, he moved into doing competition style, sports style. And he got rid of a lot of the hard style technique stuff and started doing much more instead of focusing on power, the focus was on efficiency, which is not what his original focus on. His original focus was on power, which was great because Cotter was a extremely high-level Jingyi martial arts practitioner. Jingyi is one of the 3 internal martial arts of China, Tai Chi, Bagua, and Jingyi. Tai Chi is, what's Tai Chi? The rubber ball, things come in and they bounce off. Bagua is the steel ball. Things come in and are pushed around. Jingyi is what's called the wireframe ball, where things come into the ball and the ball rotates and rips everything apart. So as far as I know, that was Steve Cotter's primary martial art, which is very focused on extreme levels of efficiency and movement. Well, God, what are there? I'd have to think about it for a minute. 5 basic techniques, 12 variation techniques. And so Cotter originally did hard style when he was RKC, and when he created IKFF, I believe it was more efficiency style based on the teachings of Valerie Fedorenko. It's probably great. Cotter's an absolutely beast of an instructor, and he has been for 14 years, as far as I can tell. He was one of the original kettlebell guys. Other good kettlebell certifications would be Fedorenko's. I'll have to look it up. I don't even know if Fedorenko's is still going. And of course, I would say go to Onnit. Onnit is now where kind of most of the best trainers have ended up. Great trainers there, like John Wolf, who I believe is in charge of their entire training program. And I knew him years ago. That must have been 08, 09, back when he ran Wolfpack Fitness up in, I think it was Salinas, California. Great dude. That guy's a beast. He's a monster. You watch him press 48K for reps like it's nothing, 5 reps with a 48K. So I would put a lot of faith in IKFF right now, even not knowing the program. And I would put a lot of faith in Onnit just because I know those guys, and those guys are incredibly good and incredibly thoughtful trainers. How would you prepare to get that level of fitness? That depends on what the test is. The old RKC used to have a test, and it was a snatch test, and it was kind of like a competition test. So it used to be based on weight, where your body weight determined how many snatches you had to do uninterrupted with a 24K kettlebell, which is a great test. I think I had to do 55 straight left hand transition, 55 straight right hand, but I was always in the heaviest category. I've always been above 210 pounds. I run at about 232 right now, which is a little bit heavy, but conveniently, uh, that didn't matter at a certain point. But training for that meant that you needed to do volume training for snatch cycle. So you need to be really good at snatch. And my target was 55 straight. So what I would do is set up a volume cycle shooting for 110 total on each side. So this is kind of an adaptation of an idea from barbell training, where you have your 1 rep max where you do exactly 1 rep, and then you have 85 to 95% where you might do 2 to 3 reps, and then you drop down towards 50% where you can do 10 reps. So think about snatch training as being similar to that idea. You can either train heavier, which totally helps, running a volume cycle with the weight up. So instead of running your volume cycle just with a 24K kettlebell, you would run it also with a 32K kettlebell, even a 28, but we didn't have 28s back then. And you would create a volume cycle. So an easy way to do that would be to do 5 snatches left, 5 snatches right inside of a minute, and then stack that up to 24 minutes, 22 minutes. And then start doing a density cycle down to start compressing that into smaller and smaller loads and take out the breaks. And then run the alternate program, 2 programs a week. The other program would be a every minute on the minute program with a 32K, where you would be doing just 3 reps on left, 3 reps on right, and then stack up a volume cycle to the same total number of minutes. The heavyweight and the light actual target weight, double the number that you actually have to perform. And then I just went in with all of that training and just did the 55 on each side. It was extremely challenging, but that is a pretty good way to do it that doesn't require a lot of thought or a lot of really good technique. The point of doing it that way is that you get to set it down in between times so your hands can get a break. The goal is to do it without destroying your hands. If you destroy your hands, you can't snatch, then it doesn't do you any good. So in the beginning, I like to do the old hardstyle version, which is volume cycles, as opposed to the soft style training programs, which are do 1 rep every 10 seconds, but never put the weight down, and then condense that over time. That was a long answer. I get super nerdy. Here it is. Just to clarify, the IKFF CKT1 test requires 100 hand-to-hand swings, 16 by 2 clean and press, 16 with each hand, a total of 60 snatches, 30 front squats, and a 20 kilogram kettlebell for men in one go. So never putting it down in between each movement. That doesn't seem that bad at all. It actually seems pretty fun. 100 hand-to-hand swings, what that should take. You should be getting hand-to-hand swings. You should be getting 18 per 30 seconds. Maybe that's 36 per minute. You're going to get a little bit slower as you go. So that should take you 3.5 to 4 minutes. If you're 4 minutes, if you're really, really becoming very efficient with each movement. 16 clean and press. Is that a pure press or a push press? With a 20K. This is a fun program to build up to. Once again, you would run a density cycle for clean and press as well. And you would add up to, instead of 16, I believe that's 16 reps by 2. I'm not quite sure how you're doing your nomenclature here on this. 16x2. I don't know. The way that I write it is weight 20K x number of sets x 16. So if it's 16 reps, I would write 16L, 16R. I'm not quite sure what that nomenclature means. If you're listening right now, send me an update on what that means, because I don't quite get that. A total of 60 snatches. Is that 60 snatches? Is that 30 left, 30 right? Or 60 left, 60 right? There's different ways that people write these things. Okay. I live in the UK. Can I recommend any good steel clubs? I hear, is it F9F or 9F9? I bought some maces from them when I was in the UK working on Wonder Woman. Their maces are great. I hear they have good steel clubs as well. The main thing that you're looking for with a steel club is it doesn't have a smooth handle. A glass, smooth, polished handle is a nightmare the second you get sweaty. The best handles have a small amount of, say, grip checkering on them or a grip coat of some type on them, which just creates not a super smooth, slick surface. If that club is really shiny, I would be super paranoid of it. Shiny clubs have shiny paint, smooth paint on them. I'd be super paranoid of that. But I would look up FT9 or 9FT. I'll have to look that up. I'll come back to you on that one. Hey, Mark, I have a question about time management in a workout session. This is from Angel G. Love the name Angel. If we have 1 hour to train, we have about 40 minutes to perform exercises. Should I opt to do 4 exercises for 10 minutes each? There are a billion answers to this question, like literally a billion answers to this question. The way that I write programs is I get an exact amount of time, say exactly 60 minutes on the clock. I assume that there would be 8 minutes of loss inside of that 60 minutes because there will be fucking around at the beginning and there will be fucking around at the end and there will probably be fucking around in the middle. And then I would break that up into, say, an 8-minute warm up, a 2-minute transition, which would put it at 10 minutes. And then I would then figure out a format for that day. It could be I could do each exercise for 10 minutes or maybe do each exercise for 8 minutes and have a 2-minute break in between. Or you could do 4 minutes of one thing, a 1-minute break, 4 minutes to the next, and do rounds. One of my favorite types of training is 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Where you do an exercise for 30 seconds, you get a 30-second transition. You do it on the other side. You build complexity in that way. There are a billion answers to that question. And I answer that question every day when I write a new program every day for a client. So writing programs is really more of an art than a science because over time you will figure out how many reps of each thing you can fit in say 30 seconds. And then if that day you're going to do 90 seconds on, 30 seconds off, which is more of a muscle building protocol instead of a one-to-one, which is an aerobic protocol, you would have a way to then generally plan how many reps you should be shooting for in that amount of time. There are so many answers to that question, and it depends on how much strength and experience you have. I will endeavor to keep answering those questions over time, and the more videos I put out, the more you're going to start to figure it out. I have a series of videos coming out next week where I actually got out a big chalkboard and a pin board and started moving things around. This is the idea that I call Tetris of training, where I have ideas of what I need to accomplish every day. I have ideas of things that athletes need to accomplish over time. So say, if I was running a program and I had a client who was doing clean and press, squat and swings, and Turkish get-ups, I would pick 2 days a week and I might do clean and press and Turkish get-up and have one full pressing day, and the other day would be swings and deck squats. The longest deck squat workout takes 20 minutes. The longest swing workout usually takes 10 minutes, but if you're trying to get to higher numbers and greater volume, it could take 20 minutes. And I figure out how to balance all those things all the time. It's always a running balance equation to fit in the amount of time I have. Always. I know it's a terrible answer. It's because there are so many answers to the question that it's absolutely crazy. About how much rest between sets, also from Angel G. Should I try to combine, let's say, squat and swings? You can combine squat and swings if you're good at both of them. If you're not good at both of them, then you're going to have to drop weight to figure it out, or you're going to have to alter your reps. Frequency, intensity, time, type. How good are you at it? What do you have available? This is always an engineering equation. If you're newer to training, you might need 1-minute breaks. If you're lifting really heavy weights, you would like to go to 2-minute breaks. If you have only one kettlebell and you've gotten really good at it, then you might drop it down to 30-second breaks. There are so many answers to that question. and it has to do with all the variables. What equipment do you have? How much time do you have? What are you trying to accomplish? Which moves do you want to put in that week? How much recovery are you trying to get? Do you want it to be aerobic? Do you want it to be anaerobic? Do you want it to be glycolytic? So many variables to that question. Hi, Mark. Can you discuss programming your classic 10 to 20 minute EMOM and how you can apply that not only to swings, but also to clean and press, squats, Turkish get up, etc.? So the reason we tend to apply EMOMs to swings is because each swing takes an extremely brief period of time. If you're doing swings at a slower, more efficient rate, you're going to get 18 per 30 seconds, right? Which allows you to fit breaks in there that allow you to recover. The point of an EMOM is that you're really supposed to be working for 40 seconds at the max and 20 seconds break. The way that I structure swings starts with 50 seconds break and 10 seconds of work, and we walk towards that 40 seconds of work and 20 seconds of break. One step at a time so that people don't die. If you just ask people to do 40 seconds of work and have 20 seconds of break, they will absolutely not make it, and they will never show up for training again. And then you've lost that client, and you haven't actually helped them do anything positive with what they wanted to do. When you think about something like Turkish get-ups at their fastest are like, 17 seconds to have it still be clean and crisp. But you're looking at probably 25 to 30 seconds per. So if you were running a Turkish get-up in an EMOM, then you would have to know how long each rep of each exercise might take, and then plan based on that. So if you were trying to do an EMOM format where you were trying to do, say, 3 exercises inside of a minute and have 20 seconds of break, then you could do, let's say, 5 swings left, 5 swings right, clean and press, 2 reps left, 2 reps right, and then 2 squats. And that should maybe take 40 seconds off the top of my head without trying it. So you're always trying to balance those things, but you have to kind of know how long each rep will take. And an easy way to do that is to pick up a weight, do that exercise for 30 seconds, write that number down, do it 5 or 6 times, see what number you keep coming up with, and then take an average of that. And then you can do your math based on that. What could you expect to actually pull off in this amount of time? Sometimes you write EMOMs that are generally just undoable because you're trying to force people to be faster. The reason I tend to use EMOMs in programming is to try to trick people into getting more efficient at little things. Picking up the weight, setting it down, breathing in, breathing out, standing all the way up after a set to recover better. I'm always trying to trick people into becoming more efficient at very small things because small things add up into big things. Let's see a question from Scooby Donkers. Great name. I'm really enjoying the names on these. Hey, Mark, during swings, I try to point my feet forward, but my toes seem to want to point out a bit. During a set, my feet will even drift slightly so that they point out at the end. How can I fix this? If your feet are drifting, then you're not standing yet. You're kind of floating, or you're shifting your weight from side to side at certain points in the swing, which just means that you're either shifting your weight from your forefoot to your rear foot at different points in the movement. A lot of times people's heels will drift in. It's not that their toes drift out, it's that their heels drift in. It's that when they go to the bottom of the swing, they're loading their toe instead of staying back in their heel. So at the bottom of the swing, you need to make sure that you are back in your heel until your feet don't move. If your feet keep drifting, then you need to figure out how to be back in your heel. Simple answer, hard to do. You'll figure it out when somebody points out to you. It probably means your knees at the bottom of the swing are tracking forward closer to your toes. In a swing, it depends a little bit on the length of your levers, the length of your shin bone and your thigh bone, but you want to get further and further and further back and try and verticalize that shin bone throughout the range of motion. Let's find another question. Somebody says Scooby Donker's question is probably a question for his physical therapist. Yeah, maybe. Or he's just drifting into his toes at the bottom of the swings. Could be either. I don't know. I'm not there. Ralph Riley, your detailed review of the hows and whys of doing these not so simple kettlebell moves has been a big help. Okay, well, that's just a compliment. For those who have access to kettlebells, what are the equivalent moves that can be done with dumbbells? You can do all of the moves with dumbbells. This is a question from Climb Escudero. Love these names, man. Great names. You can do all the kettlebell moves with a single dumbbell. The problem with doing it is, if you're not good at it, the way the load is distributed in a dumbbell doesn't trick you into doing the moves better. If you don't lock out your elbow, a dumbbell won't force you, it won't reward you for locking out your elbow. A kettlebell, because of the offset center of mass, will reward you for doing things like locking out your elbow or putting your shoulder in the right spot. You can do them all with the dumbbell, but you're going to have to be more aware of certain things like lockout. Igor Mikishin. I feel like that's a great Russian name, and I'm not quite sure how to pronounce where the emphasis should be in that for Russian or Ukrainian, perhaps. Could be Romanian, too. Do you think it's a good idea to do all 6 basic exercises in one workout? I do swing, squat, swing, clean, swing, press, swing, snatch, swing, get up, swing, push up, swing, 36 units, 24K. Sure, totally a great idea. The thing that you need to understand about programming is that there are kind of no like really wrong answers. There are really good answers to answer certain questions, but if you're not answering a question, it really is pretty freeform. There are lots of old school hardstyle guys, and they do swings for rest, which seems ridiculous. They will do a bunch of exercises and stack them up and then do swings in between so that they never stop moving. That's more of an advanced way to do it. And it's very hard, but it works very well. There are no wrong answers to programming. There are good ideas to programming. How do you say this? There's a really good way to say this. There are no secret techniques. There are only secret strategies. So there are different strategies to accomplish different things. If you're training for more endurance, that's a great idea. That's just a great hard idea as it is, because there doesn't seem to be a lot of rest in there. But in reality, I write programs that are very specific because I want them to accomplish specific tasks. But for the most part, you can write programs in almost any way you want with a kettlebell. Kettlebells will tend to trick you into having better form if you simply understand where to put your hand. And you will get better at things in a myriad of ways. I like to vary the rest periods when I'm focusing on basic things. So for clean and press, I like to use 1-minute breaks in between sets so that people get a longer break because I'm focusing more on strength. I don't do 2-minute breaks because it takes forever. And most people who are training at home are not using weights that require a 2-minute break. They're just not that heavy. Even up to 24K, 28K, a 1-minute break for pressing is pretty good because you're not going to get to that barbell thing where you need 5 minutes of rest unless you're pushing 48K. For swings, I like to do EMOMs. So what I like to do is have different types of programming. I like to have focused programming that focuses on getting good at clean and press or getting good at swings or getting good at squats or getting good at snatches. If you're trying to get good at that thing, then you need to focus on it and you need to have enough rest that you can actually focus on it. If there's too little rest and your heart rate stays too high for too long, you lose the ability to control the minute parts of the movement. With lighter weights, I like to do time under tension, or this idea that Igor is talking about, where it just keeps going. And that's the difference about what available weights you have to you. If a weight is light to you, then you can take out all the rest because it's light enough that you can still have good form. Breakdown in form is where you get hurt. Getting hurt is not the goal because it costs time, money, and training. So those questions, if it's working out for you, that's great, and I highly recommend you keep doing it. 36-year-old using a 24K, doing all of that. That guy's strong. He's endurant. He's as strong as a human will probably need to be. Is he as strong as an Olympic lifter? No, because he's not practicing Olympic lifting. But could an Olympic lifter do what he does? Also a really good question, because they're going to have very different internal energy systems inside their cells. One of the reasons I love kettlebells is that people on accident become endurant weightlifters. Instead of focusing just on max strength, they get better at doing very human things, which is carrying intermediate loads for long periods of time. What advice do you have for someone with fallen arches? Buy a club bell, point your feet straight ahead, do hundreds of thousands of reps of inside circles, outside circles, shield cast developing into mills. That's the best possible thing I could tell you to do. Get to the point where you can do it on balance board with a medium intermediate weight. The thing with fallen arches is that muscle isn't on. So if you're turning out, that muscle's definitely not on. Point your feet straight ahead, or even pigeon toe just a little bit, 5 degrees. And that pigeon toe will force your ankle into a better position, and it will force your arch to try to come on. But then you will still have to retrain that muscle. If you've had flat feet your entire life and you're 30, you've had 30 years of that muscle not doing what it's supposed to do, it's going to take you 2 years to fix that problem. And you're going to have to be extraordinarily diligent about your foot position. You're going to have to do that training 2 to 3 days a week. And you should be training, you should feel the arch of your foot on fire when you're doing this type of programming, because that muscle should be subjected to so much load that it actually has to contract. If you are doing the program and you are not feeling it in your arches, then you're doing the program wrong. Something has gone wrong. It's either has to do with hip position, knee position, or foot position. Or you're standing too much in one leg. There are a lot of answers to that question, but when you're doing that type of training, building up to, say, 10 sets of 10 on inside circles would put you under load for 8 minutes. You need to put yourself in a position where your feet cannot move for those 8 minutes. And those arches will be forced on. It should be absolutely awful. And then you should have a 2-minute break and chase it with outside circles for 8 minutes. Building up to that, of course, over time from 2 minutes to 8 minutes, and forcing those arches on. That will help. That will definitely help with fallen arches. I've had many a client with fallen arches. It's kind of like one of the most common things I see. And it's usually people who grow up in cities. I don't see this a lot in farm people because they spend a lot more time barefoot running around outside. A lot of people who grew up in cities did not spend time barefoot because there was just nowhere to be barefoot. Yeah. Here we go. I'm Indian, brah. Great name. Hey, dude, I just started recently kettlebelling, and I realized he has low back pain. He's on his second day. How is he supposed to be feeling? Is he supposed to be feeling this since he's quite sedentary previously? Probably. Most people who are very sedentary, the muscles in the back of their body do not work very well. People who are sedentary implies being seated. Being seated implies that your glutes and your hamstrings and stuff don't fire very well at all. So when people come from being sedentary, the muscles, their glutes and their hamstrings just don't work super well or very properly. They're not coming on every rep. And it takes time for people to train that. So in the beginning, people get low back pain because the muscles in their lower back have been the only muscles firing in the backside of their body. When they start kettlebelling, those muscles are trying to take over all the load. One of the reasons I love to throw in heavy club swinging inside circles and outside circles is as that weight swings across the body, it tries to fire your glute med over and over and over again. So for every rep you do, your glute med tries to fire. As your glute med tries to fire, it tries to take load away from your lower back. So if your glutes are super saggy and you reach back there and you try and squeeze your glutes and there's nothing there, then yeah, you can expect to have lower back pain. And you might throw in some ground bridges into your warm-up for a minute at a time until your glutes start to come on as part of your warm-up for kettlebelling. Force your glutes on in some way. Ground bridge, super cheap, super easy way to do it before starting your kettlebell workout so that your glutes are primed to come on. You take away their option to not fire. Somebody wants to see more of the martial arts and weapon-based training. Martial arts and weapon-based training is super fun. Super fun. I do it very weird ways because I did martial arts for years and I realized I didn't actually know anything about weapons. I did weapons for 15 years and I didn't know shit about how to actually use weapons. So we went back to the beginning and we had a question. I want to be able to use this weapon to do basic things. Attack and defend. Nothing crazy. No 14th century Fiore longsword or anything like that, or Italian manuscripts from the Renaissance. I just want to be able to use super common, super available weapons to actually do things like block, get it the hell out of the way, and respond and attack. And I sat down and thought about it and tried a bunch of things out. And now I have I consider to be a fairly good understanding of the absolute basics of weapons. I don't claim to teach anything fancy, but I claim to teach you how to block really well with a machete, a bat, and a stick, and then do a response strike. Because of what I do, which is train people for movies, we tend not to be doing a lot of Italian Renaissance rapier or German longsword because that's just not how fight scenes work. There are basic moves in fight scenes, and I lead all of my training towards those things. In fight scenes, there's choreography, and choreography is everybody knows what's going to happen before it happens. It's not real fighting, it's a dance. And if somebody messes up the dance, people get hurt. But you have to be prepared for the dance to mess up. So all the training I do is based on observe, orient, decide, act. So all of my training is actual response training based on the moves that I see to be very commonly used in the movement patterns used in movies. So what I like to do is sit down and watch my favorite movies and analyze fight scenes and watch how improvised weapons are used and then design programs to try to get people to do those things without actually being told to do them. It's very, very nerdy. And I love it. I'm actually going back right now during quarantine and I'm watching all the Marvel movies in order, and it's awesome. And just going back and going through and watching the fight scenes, one scene at a time, and seeing how many opponents are there, what types of weapons are in these fight scenes, and then using that to create drills that are actual observe, orient, decide, act drills based on these things. At some point, I would love after quarantine to be able to actually turn this thing itself into YouTube videos where we rip apart favorite movies and try to turn those into real drills. Yeah, that's going to be sick. That's like an end goal, super, super goal. It's going to be so cool. Yeah, let's see if we can do a call-in thing now. How do we do this? So we're going to get here, fan line. Here we go. Oh, I got an answer. Yeah, it actually works this time. Here we go. 917-829-5800. Hello, this is Mark Wildman. Oh, Jesus. End call. Okay, that didn't work.
Does that work?
Oh, no, here we are. We're on. Hello, this is Mark Wildman.
Hey.
Who am I talking to?
Hey, man, you're talking to Sam Sanchez. How's it going, Mark?
I'm good, sir. How are you doing today? Excellent.
Not too bad. It's a beautiful day in Jersey, man. Just took off for it.
Oh, nice. Jersey. Great.
Yeah.
What are we talking about here? What's our question?
So, just a quick thing. I know you talked about the kettlebell program and the clubbell program coming out. You're working on them.
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to come out with them around the same time? Just because I work a lot of clubbell as well.
Once I get one done, what I'm trying to do right now is do the clean and press program and get that up. Once I get one done, I'll be able to put out the next one 4 days later. But it's the technical issues.
Okay.
So all the programs are written. There's 5 years of training on my computer. It's just me trying to give it to you. And I am not the techiest dude. You know, I was a biochemical engineer, not a computer scientist. So I keep running into kind of big issues that I just don't understand how to solve. And then I go about trying to solve those things, but that requires me to make a lot of phone calls and people to get back to me. So once I get out the clean and press program, then maybe 4 or 5 days later, expect the swing program. And then if you guys want the club program, I'll put that out sooner. The club program, the single arm club program, is at its short 18 months long, just for the normal weights. It's all written down. I just have to give it to you. I just have to be able to give it to you.
That makes sense. I know you said that before, like weeks ago, and I understand. I'm not technical either, man. So I wish you the best of luck.
Well, thank you very much, sir. I'm trying to get it to you as soon as I can.
And I appreciate the hell out of that. So thank you. Clubs are always my thing. I've been trying to do them for the past year or so.
So what are you doing now? Let's ask this question.
So now I've just been doing a lot of swipes, about 50 one-side swipes with 15 pounds, left and then right, of course.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to do mills with left 50 on one side, 50 on right side. I'm having some issues with mills. I keep dissecting your video, but I'm just not getting the turn proper. Right when you bring it up to the order position, you bring it overhead, and then I'm just not getting that. So that's what I've been working on the past 2 weeks.
Okay. Did you see that video I made, the 180-degree alternating pullover?
Yes, I have, and that's the other video I've been doing as well. Outside is so much harder than inside.
Yes, everybody sucks at outside, but once you get them, this opens up all of base swinging to you, and it makes martial arts a billion times easier in general. So here's an idea. Stop trying to do 50 straight and start breaking that down into sets. Break down those sets into sets of 5 and do 10 sets of 5 instead of trying to do 50, right? And then start adding sets to it. Go from 10 sets to 11 sets to 12 sets to 13 sets and start walking up the volume beyond what you want to try to accomplish. Pretty easy way to do it. Drop that intensity way down. If you're doing sets of 5, you get to alternate hands. That one hand that you're not getting gets a chance to rest. And instead of getting worse over time, you get better over time.
Okay, that makes sense then. I just got one thing about that though. Are the rest times, are you doing 1 minute on, 1 minute off? And
no,
what would you say the volume?
Just transfer directly from hand to hand.
Got it. Okay, then. That makes sense. Right. And for the sorry, go ahead, man. Yeah, sorry. You have other people.
No, it's all right. Give me one more question.
Sure. For strengthening of the ankles, I know you're very big on feet strengthening, arch strengthening. What clubbell workouts would you do? What clubbell movements, would you use for that specifically?
You're already doing them. It's all the mill stuff.
All right.
Anything
that's what I thought, man.
Yep.
Perfect. All right, then. Hey, Mark, I really appreciate everything. Be safe, man.
Be safe.
Thank you.
Oh, I cut him off just a little bit there at the end. My bad, sir. Sorry. All right, answer call coming in. Here we go. Answer. What am I doing wrong here, Taylor? I'm looking for.
Yeah, the hit at the end.
Oh. No, we're not getting an answer on this next one. Here, hold on a sec, guys. This is a new application, and we're trying to figure out how to make this stuff work. Hello? Is it there? Should we shut down the line and then try it again? There we go. Let's try it again. Hello, this is Mark Wildman. Let's see if we can figure this thing out. Nope, we got one call, and now it won't work again. Hey guys, sorry. We're gonna try this again here. The line is not opening as well as we thought. It's not opening at all. We are having technical issues, so we're gonna go back to answering questions. We're gonna try it again in a minute. I'm gonna close the line and then keep opening it up back and forth and see if we can eventually solve this problem. But I'm gonna keep answering other questions until then. I just saw Hydrocore come up on the line. Hydrocore is great. Hydrocore is my buddy, and it's a great product. I fucking love that thing. He sent me one right before quarantine started. I think I got one of the last ones that there was. And I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's a great thing to actually use. I think that I'm now putting it in 4 things you absolutely must have over time. Kettlebells, number 1, simplest, cheapest, most easy to use. Number 2, heavy clubs. Number 3, mace. Number 4, Hydrocore. And I'm going to alternate back and forth between mace and Hydrocore on which one's more important. I'm not sure yet. Hydrocore is pretty awesome, but it's pretty brutal because there's actually not a lot of resting positions in there that don't beat the crap out of you. I find it super, super fun. Let's try to answer this fan line again here. Man, this line. Oh, here we go. Hello, this is Mark Wildman.
Oh, hello, my man. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, sir. What is your name?
My name is AJ Johnson. I was the guy who talked about the Wildman insurance when I quit my knee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yep, sorry about that. Try not to hit yourself is very important in this whole thing, but that's learning as you go.
Yeah, so I have a question. I recently purchased a 25-pound mace, and I fucking love it. And I started doing these marches with the weapon. Could you do some videos just about marching and make more videos about how to do mace work? And also, how can I get my friends to start understanding this is the true way to work out and start wasting time with barbells and dumbbells?
You're going to have nearly an impossible time converting barbellers over because they are usually extremely invested in how much they lift, and usually in their CrossFit total or their powerlifting total, which is the sum total of how much their deadlift, their squat, and their press is. And that's a number that's been tracked for a long time. So people are going to have a really hard time getting away from that. You're going to have to approach the problem by convincing them that just lifting up a heavy weight is not superhuman. It's not actually very human. Let me rephrase that. There are lots of animals on the planet that lift heavy shit, usually beasts of burden, right? Humans have a very specific thing that they do, which is swing tools and swing weapons. And that's usually the avenue of approach that you need to get in order to try and convert people over towards more of a mace swinging idea. You have to communicate to them in some way that that's very real. And usually use movies, use all the cool stuff that people do in movies, all the weapons work, all the Jackie Chan movies, and start using your mace training to move towards those movement patterns, ripping apart moves from your favorite movies and turning them into weight training programs using mace. It's going to be a little bit hard to do with a 25-pound mace because that thing's a real son of a bitch to get like reverse hand complex movements going on with. But if you got yourself a 10 or a 15, which are super cheap and never go bad, then you can have a heavy mace day and a light mace day. You can do the exact same thing that you do with kettlebells. It's a heavy day and a light day. And you can do super complex movements with a 10 and a 15 and make it look super ninja and make it look very Jedi. I actually made a Jedi video on the 4th and I just didn't actually get it out. But it's, you can do the exact Jedi stuff. Yeah, I'll try and get it out to you. I'll
Please
try
get
it.
that mace videos out. Please, I want to see. I'm loving this thing.
Yeah, there could be 1,000 of them. I'll get them out for you. Thanks for calling in. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, have a good one.
Have a good one, sir. All right, let's try and get another line going. All right, here we go. Let's try.
That means it's calling them, so you can just wait for them to answer.
Oh, that's what that means?
That's what I was told, yeah.
Okay. All right, we're waiting on somebody. Is that what that means?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
It's calling out to them, and they just have to answer.
Somebody's got to answer their phone, but if they don't answer, we'll try something else. Let's find some more questions here. Kettlebell exercises for Kung Fu punches and blocks. Inside circle, outside circle is directly Kung Fu punches. Inside circle, outside circle, directly the movement pattern for Kung Fu punches. The heavy club inside circle and outside circle is also the direct movement for punches. It's the thumb up Kung Fu version of a punch instead of more of the karate rotate your hand version of a punch. And for blocks, it is shield cast, which you cannot do single arm with a kettlebell, but halos. Halos are the direct movement pattern of rising blocks and kind of most blocks in general. That's why in clubs it's called a shield cast. It's the act of raising a shield in front of your face. The kettlebell equivalent is the halo. So I love Kung Fu stuff. And so I've always been trying to get better at Kung Fu my entire life. So Kung Fu, inside circles, outside circles, work on that. We're going to try this call again here. And opening the line. Here we go. We got somebody on the line. Hello, this is Mark Wildman.
Oh, hi. This is Ken from Colorado.
Ken from Colorado. What may I help you with today, sir?
I had a question about my wife, actually. So she has osteoporosis from an underlying medical condition.
Okay, osteoporosis being, let me get that one correct in my head. More brittle bone structure, correct? Loss
Correct.
of calcium in the bone structure over time?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So the question was, kettlebells or clubs, could they be helpful, or stay away from that?
No, definitely. I am a huge advocate for almost any medical condition is made better through subjecting the frame to load. It would be worse for her not to do those things. I would stay away from something like barbells because most programs aren't going to be progressive enough. But the way that kettlebells and clubs work, they would subject the skeleton to small amounts of load over time, which would encourage the skeleton to get stronger. That is a very classic training idea. And anything like that, osteoporosis, I would 100% say start light, because the connective tissue going to her bone, you don't want to load it up so much that you actually snap the connective tissue off of the bone. So start light, make the program run twice as long, but 100%, in my experience, I would definitely say do kettlebells and clubs, 100%.
Great.
That answer your question, sir?
Yeah, perfectly.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate all your videos online. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Press it once. Okay. Oh, man, we're getting this technical issue solved. Hello, this is Mark Wildman. Press it once. Okay. Oh, man, we're getting this technical issue solved. Hello, this is Mark Wildman.
Hello?
Mute the thing on.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Sorry. I'll do it.
Mute the stream on your computer. There you go.
Yeah, I got it. Hi, Mark.
Hello, sir. How are you today? What's your name?
Hi, fine. I'm Hugh McLeod. I'm friends with Dave McKenzie, the director.
Oh, Mackenzie. How is the great Mackenzie?
Oh, he's great. He's in Scotland and he's chilling out and he's waiting for his next film project. But
did we find out about what his next project was going to be? Did he get lined up? I heard he was going to do something in London, but I haven't heard.
Yeah, I also heard something about New York. I tell you what, if I find out, I got your email. I'll let you know.
All right, cool. What's your question, sir?
Okay. My question is, I'm a real big fan of the 16 kilogram guy, the 16 kilogram kettlebell.
Yes, sir.
And I always hear, I'm 54, so I'm not that young, but I always hear stories about, you should do the snatch test at 20 kilograms or snatch test at 24 kilograms or whatever. And I'm saying, but I want to stick to 16 kilograms. Is that all right if I just do that? It's like max out of 16, or do I have to?
No, you can totally max out at 16. So think about the math on this. If you can do 200 snatches in 10 minutes with a 16K, that is still an insane amount of load. So 16 times 100 is 1,600. That's still 3,200 kilograms of weight moved in 10 minutes, right? So you're at 54. So you're now in a master's category anyway. You don't have to be cranking away at 32 kilogram kettlebells anymore. The goal for you is complexity and complexity of movement over time. I personally believe that super heavy weights are for younger people to get strong.
Right.
But as you get older, the goal is to become more efficient. Right. And that same thing is true in martial arts. And when you're young, you do boxing. When you're old, you do Tai Chi. Right. The goal is to figure out how to not get punched when you're older as kind of a philosophical thing. But yes, totally stay at 16K. If that's what you want to do, get to the point where you can juggle that kettlebell or do hand to hand for 30 minutes without stopping. Totally fine.
Wow.
You're still going to be extremely strong, very healthy. You do not have to go cranking away on super heavy weights if you don't want to. It's just not necessary. You're still strong as hell.
So I don't have to have 24 kilogram envy or anything like that.
No.
no.
And I got to say, I got that 16 better.
Okay, and then the one thing, and then I'll let you go, is I'm actually a really big fan of the hand-to-hand. I find it much better than the two-handed one. It's a very basic thing. I just see myself getting stronger and stronger as I use it.
Yeah.
And I actually like to have fun doing it, whereas a two-handed thing is just like an ordeal for me.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway,
here, let me make you a bunch of videos on like more hand-to-hand stuff, because I can make 20 videos on hand-to-hand stuff. Let me make them and start putting them out for you, because like once you get into like a waiter's clean to a hot potato, you can go forever with a 16K. Do you have a hard style bell or a soft style bell?
Yeah. The one thing the last time I checked, David Kenzie's working on this movie out of New York, but then it got put on hold with the virus.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, tell Mackenzie what's up for me.
All right, I talk to him about once a week, so I'll put a good word for you.
All right,
all right. God bless you.
God bless you.
Bye.
Bye. We're gonna get one more caller in here. It's working. We're getting it one now. Hello, this is Mark Wildman. How may I assist you with your questions on this fine day?
Okay, this is Matt calling from Indiana. I was just curious, but I just tuned in. I'm sure you've been asked this question a lot today, but I'm 50, got a 35-pound kettlebell, looking to figure out a good way to get started. Doing a lot of jump rope right now.
Good.
Weighted jump rope. So, looking to add the kettlebell to my workout.
Well, if you're doing jump rope right now, are you doing like single skipping? Are you doing boxing style skipping? Or are you doing like CrossFit double under skipping?
Pretty much just straight, straight up and down, no tricks of any kind.
Good. Well, then you should definitely add in swings. So how are you doing timed intervals? Or are you counting reps with your jump rope?
I'm actually doing Tabata, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off.
Oh, God, the meanest possible way to do jump rope. Okay. So do a Tabata one day. Alternate your Tabata. So skip for 20 seconds, 10 seconds off. Do swings for 20 seconds. Go back to the jump rope. You're going to have to get better at your transitions, but that's fine. And then the next day, pick another exercise. Do pure press for 20 seconds on one side. Go back to jump rope, right? Get yourself a big whiteboard and write down different time intervals on different days. And then the next day, instead of doing 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, do 30 seconds on, 15 seconds off, or 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off. So there you've got 3 different formats already, 20, 10, 30, 15, 40, 20. and then repeat that cycle, and then pick a different exercise to do alternating with jump rope on those other days. So one day do jump rope press, the next day do jump rope clean, the next day do jump rope swing, the next day do jump rope squat, right? You're not going to be able to do Turkish get-ups because Turkish get-ups take longer than most of those intervals, but then you could do, say, a workout with Turkish get-up. Do one Turkish get-up on each side, do 100 skips. Do another Turkish get-up on each side, do 100 skips. Keep repeating these ideas over and over and over again, but write it down on a board and create different times of work and different times of rest. And you can write 20 of those off the top of your head. And then one day, then now put 2 exercises in, swings and presses, and alternate those things. That program writes itself, and that is a brutal, god-awful program. Combining jumping rope with kettlebells, I love the idea. I don't do a lot of jump rope anymore because of my knee surgery. I just can't sustain that load, but if you can sustain that load, I'm so jealous. It's super cool. Does that answer your question, sir?
Jump rope, absolutely. The jump ropes are weighted to go from like 6 ounces to a pound. I've got like 5 of them.
Yeah, I used to jump rope with those old school like 2-pound ones where you put the 2-pound handle and the 2-pound weight in the handle back in college. God, I love that thing. I miss it so much. All right, thanks for calling in, sir.
Thank you. Take care.
Have a good day. We're out. All right, guys, we are going to close this out now. We've been on for about 62 minutes, I believe. We are going to do this again. If you guys would like to get on the community page and give us ideas of what's the best time for people to listen or how we need to adjust this, let us know. The goal here is to give you guys the information that you want as much as possible. And I enjoy the calls coming in because it allows me to answer tons of fun questions. I love the questions and I love talking to people. So send it in, let us know. And we're going to close it out now. Have a good day and we will see you later.